Hi friends, I'm back after what feels like a long time away from the camera. Really, it's only been maybe a week and I'm still posting videos weekly. But summer gets a little bit busy for us, as it does for a lot of people who garden and or have kids and or have a cottage that they go to frequently through the summer months. So getting on the camera and showing what I'm doing has been a bit more of a stretch for me, because more often than not, I'm just rushing through the garden, rushing to get it done. And so today it was a bit of a spur of the moment thing. I was at my computer and I just felt like, I think I'm ready to get out in the garden now. I need to turn off the computer for a bit. And I figured I'd bring you along with me. We'll see together what I get up to today. But I know for sure I'm going to do a bit of a harvest. Also, it is time to plant the last of the seeds for the fall garden. And today it actually feels kind of fall-like. We've got a high of like 19 degrees Celsius. Mornings have been downright chilly, 9 degrees Celsius this morning. And so I'm going to be just planting some arugula and some early snowball turnips, which I will tell you at the time of filming this, it is not yet September. So we have a chance of getting some small turnips off of these. But if the fall does not cooperate for us, then we may not get much of a turnip harvest. This seed packet also spilled inside the container that I had my turnips in. And so I'm just gonna pour the seeds wherever they may go. I grabbed my harvest basket, some of my seed saving tools, so some seed envelopes and a marker and some snips, and I guess we'll see where we get to here. I'm gonna start with some lettuce seed. So with lettuce seed, one of the easiest ways to save it is just to take a bucket and tip the whole flowered lettuce plant in the bucket and shake it in there. But my buckets are all dirty right now, and so I'm just gonna pick these by hand. And you just take them, like it's so obvious to see when they're ready. They're like dandelions, where the little fluff wants to carry the seed away to grow somewhere else. And you can just pick them out. Oh, I dropped them all. Pick them out with your hands. Then they go in there. You know what? I'm not enjoying this way of saving them. I'm going to go find a clean bucket. This is a clean bucket because it's a fermentation pail. We use it for fermenting things. So Kim's probably not going to want me to have it in the garden, but you know, it's a good pail for this. It's bigger than you need. Well, maybe not. So you just take your plant, shove it into a bucket, give it a bend, and shake it. And the seeds that are ready to come out are going to come out in this bucket. And you can do this a couple of times. So you can come back for more and more seeds as they ripen slowly over time. And then what you're left with are a bunch of seeds and their chaff, or all the fluffies on them. So interesting that these are white seeds. I don't remember planting white lettuce seeds, but that should help me identify the variety a little bit better. Anyway, what we're doing next with these is putting them in a shallow bowl or a tray, and then I'm going to winnow them. It's breezy enough outside today that I can probably just let the breeze winnow them. So I'll show you that. I'm gonna try this container because it's what I have on hand. Hopefully it's not too shallow and then end up losing the seeds. So we're gonna pour our seeds into the shallow dish. Kind of separate, you can rub them to separate all this chaff and all the fluff. It's important to separate them from the seeds, or they'll do their job and just fly away with the seeds on them. There we go. Not perfectly cleaned, but it's better than it was. There are lettuce seeds. I'm going to bag them and I'm going to label them as. I'm just going to write lettuce on the seed package, and then I'm going to go inside and look at what seeds I may have left over from like purchased seeds and see if I can match them visually. Like, what seed is white? Where's my marker? Why would my marker not be here? What did I do with my marker? Put it over there. I love having this little table. It's not a table, it's the strawberry cage. Of course, I ripped all the strawberries out of this bed and now it's a fall brassicas bed and it's a really handy surface to work on. Seed type, lettuce. I do not know the variety. Date collected. I don't know what date it is. August 28th or something like that. 2025. Might do a better cleaning job later too when I have more patience. Oh gosh, did you see that? I just dumped half of them. A lot of them went in a spider web down there. Now let's do a little cucumber harvest. Some of these cucumbers are a little on the funky side, but that's fine. They taste good. They're sweet all the way through. And when I have any that are overripe that I've left for too long in the garden, I'm adding them to my relish pile. I've made one batch of relish so far. Also, these are like a snacking cucumber. They're not an English cucumber, so they're not meant to get super long. So eventually, when a plant has cucumber mosaic virus, the fruit will be affected too. You'll end up with like weird scabby things all over the fruit, which can also be caused by nibbling cucumber beetles. And then the fruit just will look gross and not taste very good. It tends to get bitter. That's a cucumber stress response. Makes its fruit bitter when it's stressed. Doesn't want things to eat it, I guess. Maybe I should get in here and prune too. I mean, that's a whole other can of worms for a garden task. Pruning cucumbers, because then you have to deal with the foliage too. I'm not just gonna put it in my compost bin because of the virus. Yeah, there. That's an unhealthy cucumber. So I'm glad I'm picking them all now. Darn, I really wanted to have cucumbers for the kids' school lunches. What a season, what a season. It has been a frustrating summer so far for gardening. So I would have been fine with the fact that we didn't get our first cucumbers until August if the plants stayed healthy throughout August and well into September. So I was looking forward to still getting a good 2 months of cucumbers, August and September. We'd only gotten 3 weeks of harvest so far, and then they were sick. And for the first little while, the cucumbers were really great. As I said, like we've eaten our fill of cucumbers and I've made one batch of relish already. But I want cucumbers in September. I want them longer than just a bit in August. And so this is really frustrating to see that the disease has already spread to the fruit, or that the disease is now causing issues to surface in the new fruit that's forming. So I'm not sure what to do about these cucumbers. My options are just leave it and see how many good tasting cucumbers I can still squeeze out of it, or remove all of the plants entirely, which is very frustrating to think about. And then just do a really good winter system in this bed. I have a lot of transplants I can still put in here. You've given me a lot to think about, cucumber. But for now, I'm just gonna test this one out for taste. It's still really sweet. It's still sweet, so we're good to keep picking. I am gonna prune a lot of this back though. All right, cucumbers. These are a mix of varieties, so I can't even tell you what kind they are. If you're not used to pruning things like cucumbers or squash, this may seem shocking to you, but this is what I've done to my cucumber patch. You know, it's probably not going to have enough leaves for the plants to do a lot of photosynthesis and continue growing, but I have hope that the cucumbers that are on there and that do look healthy are going to at least have time to ripen. Typically when I do a pruning, of my cucumber plants, it's nice to keep it to like 30% cut back at a time. So you cut back about 30% of the plant's foliage at a time, and then it's got lots left to photosynthesize. But there was just so much disease in this plant that, I don't know, I wanted to get it out. I actually am not sure that cutting out cucumber mosaic virus leaves from your cucumber plant will do anything to slow the spread of the disease through the plant, because I feel like it's a virus that is within the plant itself, not just a few leaves. But I do it anyway to try to slow the spread of this virus. When it's things like powdery mildew attacking your cucumbers, which somehow I don't have currently. I had a bunch, and well, I cut it out and that solved the problem. I had a bunch of powdery mildew in my cucumbers, my squash, and my Armenian cucumbers, so melons, when I got back from my week away this summer, and I cut it all out, and now the plants have no powdery mildew in them anymore. So whether that's because I did such a good job pruning or because we had a bit of a drought, I don't know. Speaking of drought, it actually looks and feels like it's gonna rain very soon. So I'm gonna get back to just harvesting, because I would really like to get my basket filled before it rains. Oh, it's definitely gonna rain on me. I feel kind of sad for my daughter because she's at a soccer camp right now, and in the afternoons they do swimming, outdoor swimming. And today's her second day of camp, and I think both days they're gonna get rained on, and it's super cold right now to be swimming in an outdoor pool. But you can't know the weather when you book an outdoor camp. These are cucamelons. We haven't gotten very many cucamelons this year either. Typically these are really slow to grow, but then by the beginning of August or even mid-August, we get like a pint every other day of cucamelons from 3 or 4 plants. And then those get fermented on the counter, and they turn into the most scrumptious little pickle bites that you could ever want. This year, just a lot slower. I'm gonna leave the rest to get a little bit bigger. Next is some pole beans. My poor mom, she house sits when we go away, garden sits, more like it. And I guess when she was watching the house when we went away for a week, I made some comment in my follow-up video on YouTube about how I still came home to all these beans I had to pick. And she took that to mean that she needed to do a better job picking beans, which is hilarious because, like, look at me. I've been home for the last 3 days and I didn't pick them. Beans, you just gotta pick them every day, especially bush beans, but you know, pole beans too, they can get away from you. While I'm on the bean train, we'll go over to our bush beans. These are a bush bean, but they don't behave that way. They behave like sort of a hybrid between a bush and a pole bean. They drape over the edge like this, which I don't love. I want my bush beans to be compact. So I could take the shortest, stoutest of these plants and try to save seeds from them. I had mentioned at one point through the summer that I had another row of bush beans in another garden, and that once these ones started producing, I was going to let the other ones go to seed. I was going to let the pods dry out and save the seeds from them. Well, that row of bush beans got bean rust. It's a fungal disease. Fungus just covered all the leaves with this rusty stuff, and so I had to rip the plants out because I would rather not take the chance just to maybe get a few seeds saved when it risks my entire fall crop of fresh bush beans. So I ripped those out, and I will be buying fresh seed in the spring. But it's something to think about for the future because there are some traits, oops, I broke that off. Some traits that I really love about these beans. The Cherokee wax is like such a consistent provider, as is the provider bush bean, another name for another variety I love and grow. But they're a little unruly. This is too much top growth for a bush bean. They're climbing my Brussels sprouts, and they're not always this bad either. I've had batches of seed where they're pretty respectful of the garden space that they're in. Stay on the small side. I have to say, I love this weather so much. Oh, the breeze, the impending rain, the bountiful gardens, even though it's a little bit bittersweet knowing that the greatest bounty comes right before the end. It's just the best. I learn lessons about crowding every single year because I'm such a high intensity planter where I love to cram things in as tightly as I can because I want to grow all the things, all the varieties in my suburban space. And every year I think to myself, well, that was a little too close. That was a little too close, but you got to take the chance. And one of the reasons that I cram things so tightly together is because some things don't thrive. Like if these beans got that rust, I'd be really sad if I gave them an entire bed and there's nothing else in it. All right, I think I got all these. It's funny, when we made these raised beds, we thought, make sure that they are far enough apart to fit a wheelbarrow. But I didn't consider them being far enough apart for my tripod. Just wasn't on my radar at the time. I think it might be time for tomatoes. I already picked all of these Gardener Sweethearts today. I baked them in my oven to make some like fire roasted cherry tomatoes for some chili that I made. And as is always the case when I am trying to roast cherry tomatoes, I burnt them. Burnt them real good. It's thundering? I don't know. Oh gosh, this one's really in there. By the way, verdict on Florida weave for this year, I don't like it at all. It's not secure enough for my big beefsteak tomatoes. It's just not. I've got tons of peppers, but I think they can wait. And did you know that if you have tomatoes on the plant that are looking like they're about ripe and you get a big rain or you just get too much water, the tomatoes are prone to splitting open because they're just expanding and expanding with all the water. These are gorgeous little Wapsipinicon peach tomatoes. They're really good. Bring it with me to this side. There's a nice sized brandy wine. One of my first brandy wines of the season. We have gotten a good number, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 tomatoes that are 2.5 pounds. Here our soybeans look like they are plumping up nicely, actually. If you want to eat soybeans for like fresh edamame where you steam them, as soon as the beans in the pods start to touch, that's when they're ready to harvest. Don't eat soybeans raw. I don't remember the name of the compound, but there's something in them that's not good for you. Oh, they look good. I think those will be okay steamed. I should bring a couple in and test it out. I forget the name of this variety of soybean, but they are supposed to be red when they dry in the pods. And I kind of figured they'd be red at all stages, but they're not. They're a light green right now. Okay, I'm just gonna take these in to test them out for now. Put them with the cucamelons. These Kajari melons, I mean, they're also getting attacked by the cucumber beetle, but they don't seem to have mosaic virus. I did a big pruning job on these as well because I wanted to encourage them to ripen. And you can do that this time of year with melons, with tomatoes, anything that's gonna keep growing. It's indeterminate, it just vines or it spreads, it sprawls. If you cut that plant back to where the nearest big fruit is forming, then it's going to put its energy into ripening that fruit rather than growing more fruit along the ever-spreading vine. So it's a little trick. If you feel like the frost is impending in like a couple weeks, then you can chop that vine and force it to put more of its energy into ripening that fruit. Our frost is not quite impending yet. Look at these hollyhocks. So sad. They're covered in a hollyhock rust, so I need to get this foliage out of here. They are biennial, so they're supposed to flower next year if I can keep it alive. And it's actually sending out some new growth, so I need to get in here and cut these leaves out. That is a Japanese beetle who is going to be assisted on his journey out of this world. I don't do a lot of bug squishing in the garden because the bugs that I don't want on the plants are food for predators, and those predators are going to do my job for me if they know that I'm going to leave the food for them. Some things, however, currently in our environment here are outcompeting any potential predators. Japanese beetles are one of those things. Cucumber beetles are another one of those things. There are like certain predatory wasps that will take on a cucumber beetle, and there are some birds reportedly that will eat Japanese beetles. It's just that the number of predators is lower or not sufficient to meet the number of these insects, and they're invasive in this area, the Japanese beetles. So I help them along the way by squishing them when I find them, or you can put them in a dish of soapy water and then they fall in the water and die. The rain is starting and I really need to take the seed packets inside, but I can't make myself stop. Look at this dahlia. I love this one. And this one, which past its prime already, but this is my grandfather's dahlia tuber. There's one back here that's a little fresher. So my grandfather grew these in his garden, and then my mom in hers, and now me in mine. Anyway, I'm severely distracted. There aren't any vegetables to harvest over there. The sunflower is ready. I only had one of these giant sunflowers, the mammoth sunflowers, come up and not get eaten off by chipmunks and squirrels at the seedling stage. So ideally it would have had other mammoth sunflowers to cross-pollinate with. However, there are some other sunflowers. There's a queen lime. No. Lemon queen. Queen lime is a zinnia. A lemon queen sunflower. Oh, the beautiful. There are hummingbirds that have been loving this trumpet vine. This is very irresponsible of me standing here because my seed packets are sitting in the drizzle. Okay, I'm getting rained out. There was a lot more that I wanted to save seed from. I'm just gonna stop and snag some of these dill heads that are ready to go. Dill readily self-seeds, and even if you're in a cold climate where it's like very, very freezing over the winter, the seeds don't care. They'll survive in the ground. But I want to plant them where I want to plant them, so I always harvest some. Okay, one last thing. I'm gonna harvest this giant sunflower head, and then we're gonna scrape off all these little disc florets from the seeds. I'm getting really wet. You can see the back is nice and yellow, starting to go brown. This is an ideal time to harvest these sunflower seeds. It is too wet to be harvesting seeds right now. I don't want them to get wet, so let's go in. This is where I'm at so far. I have a sunflower head, I have some dill seeds, I've got a nice little thing of cucumbers, some tomatoes, some beans, some Armenian cucumbers, cucamelons, and a little bit of soybean to give them a test to see if they're ready. I had so much more I wanted to show you, but I'm rained out. I'm sorry. We'll have to do this again another time. Thanks for coming along with me. I hope that you'll come and grow with us. There's one more thing I wanted to do. The squirrels have been eating our Asian pears. Oh my gosh, we're down to 2. We're down to 2 Asian pears. We had like a dozen on this tree. So I'm picking them. Let's see. Oh my God. Oh my God. That is so good. Well, sorry kids, you missed out on a dozen of these, but I'll bring the other one in for them. Darn squirrels. And even though they're eating tons of peaches, at this point we have enough peaches to go around, which is always the goal, right? That's how we end up not fighting nature, working with nature. Plant enough. Plant things that will get huge and feed the whole neighborhood, and then there's enough for everybody.